Welcome to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we toss out excuses, face our fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Whether you're an entrepreneur navigating the ups and the downs of building a successful business, or someone ready to rewrite the rules of your life, this is your space to grow, to push boundaries, and to embrace doing the hard shit that leads to greatness. Together, we'll explore stories of resilience, strategies for overcoming, and the mindset shifts that let you build a life on your terms. I use my experience with a life-altering diagnosis to help you find the can in every can't. So buckle up, because it's time to stop living in can't and start thriving in all can. You choose. Welcome back. This is another great episode of All Can, No Can't. The idea is that we're turning obstacles into opportunities. Don't confuse that with looking for obstacles. That is definitely not what I'm doing. But the whole premise of this is when we're given obstacles, we're given a can't. What can we do to turn that into an opportunity? What can we do to turn that can't into a can? That's the message that I hope to convey. I think most everyone here has heard my story. It's been a few months, but I laid out kind of my story about sudden cardiac death, what happened to me, my diagnosis following. For those that haven't, I had sudden cardiac death on June the 12th of 2021. And after that, some things happened. Some things were going on in my personal life. My wife had asked me to leave. She was filing for divorce. And after that happened on June the 12th, she decided that she wanted us to get back together, and things, seemed to be going in the right direction. July 19th, I had another episode of SCA, ventricular fibrillation, where the same thing happened again. That was traumatic, to say the least. And then my wife of 22 years filed for divorce in August of 2021. So a lot happened in those 3 months, and they were pretty long. So that's what this episode is about. It's another solo episode. If you remember when I talked about my situation, my episode, whatever you want to call it, when it happened, there were 5 big lessons. I learned a lot, but there were 5 big lessons. I call them the 5 lessons I learned from dying. So this one is we always hear people call out that phrase, life is short. It's a common phrase. Oh, life is short. Life is short. You better do it. Life is short. Or do this. Life is short. Or don't wait. Life is short. For me, life got really fucking long. Really long. My diagnosis following my cardiac arrest was arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy, ARVC. And that condition is exacerbated with exercise. So I was told I could no longer exercise. My marriage was failing. I couldn't find gratitude. I couldn't find peace. I had no hope. I was told that my condition would worsen until ultimately I had to get a transplant, all these things. And there was a point where I thought, the worst thing that happened in all this was that Jim had an AED and they shocked me and I came back to life. That's how long life got for me. And what I wanted to do was put my running shoes on and find out just how short life actually was. But the truth is that sometimes life feels long. But I know for certain that death is real. I don't know about life being short. Sometimes it feels that way, or sometimes we want it to be short. Or sometimes we use that as an excuse. But death became very real to me on July 19th when it happened to me the second time. And that's so hard to convey without the feeling. The main idea is, obviously we can't control how long our life lasts, but we can control how we live it, and or at least how we respond to it. It's like the saying, you can't control people, but you can control how you respond to people. I think it's similar in life. You can't really control how long your life is, but you can control how you use it, what you do with it. It's almost like a lie we tell ourselves sometimes. And I don't want you to do anything. I hope that you'll think as I go through this and kind of try to see this from my side. But sometimes life is short, gets used maybe as an excuse, or maybe something that we tell ourselves, a masking. Sometimes it's used to avoid hard things. Well, life's too short. I'm not going to deal with that. Life's too short for me to deal with that. Life's too short for me to listen to that, or whatever it is, when sometimes it could be something that we need, or it could be the thing that we do need to hear and we choose not to by the excuse of life is short. It can give us an excuse to chase quick wins, like pleasure spending would be a good example. And also give us an excuse to bail when things get tough, when things get hard. Oh, life is short. I don't have to live like this. When you might be just on the cusp of a breakthrough. So many people stop mining for gold when they're millimeters away. But the reality is some seasons in life are long, they're painful, or they're boring. And that's part of life. The long seasons, they teach. We endure the long seasons and we learn grit. We endure the long seasons and we learn patience. Patience is tough for me. I have an alarm on my phone that goes off every day at 9:51, and it's just patience. So we endure those long seasons and we learn patience. I endured a pretty long season, and I learned perspective, having a different perspective. And when this happens, the strong ones lean in. And I can say that's what I did. I leaned in all of those points in my marriage, in my family, in my health, in my fitness, in my diagnosis. I leaned in. And the weak ones, they'll lean out. And you know who I'm talking about. Some of the examples might be illness, when we're given a diagnosis that we don't like. I was given a diagnosis that I didn't like for sure. I was given a reason to quit. I was encouraged to quit. I was encouraged to lean out. It was suggested that I lean out. And I didn't. I leaned in. Long recoveries can be long seasons. The folks that, you have, any kind of injury when you want to work out, you want to walk, or you want to water ski, anything. When we have those injuries that set us back, that's a long recovery. Even a week is a long recovery, especially for those of you that exercise often and frequently. Business plateaus, when our business levels out, when our business doesn't do well, when we have a problem in our business. A problem in our business, a week might seem like a year. When things are going great in our business, a week might seem like a day or a minute. We don't celebrate it enough, and they don't seem to last long enough. And then long seasons can be like waiting for a breakthrough, when you've made the cold calls, you've sent the letters, you've put the time in, you've done the lifts, you've done the work at the track, you've done the work to get the reward, and you're on that cusp of a breakthrough. That can be a really, really long time. So we often look at death as a threat. Death is not a threat. It's just a fact. And it was never real to me. It was not real. The episode that happened on June the 12th, I was out just for like 8 minutes, shocked with an AED multiple times, no pulse, no breath. And even after that, death was not real to me. I suffered no trauma, no pain. I wasn't scared, nothing. None of that made death real to me. It just was not real. Until the second time it happened. And when it happened again, I consciously, it happened for 46 seconds. I've got it on my defibrillator download printout. For 46 seconds, I was in VF, ventricular fibrillation. and I knew that I was dying. Like, I actively knew that I was dying. Are you feeling stuck? Overwhelmed? It's like you're fighting against something that you can't even see or name. I've been there, literally. I survived sudden cardiac death, and I rebuilt everything. I've mastered the art of controlling the chaos. Now, I coach a small group of high performers that are willing to do the work to do the same thing. No fluff, no excuses, we just get results. If you're ready to take back control, apply now at jeffluther.com. This is all can, no can. So, it's not a threat, but we don't know our timeline. But living, if we live with death in mind, here's what I've learned. We can stop wasting time. What I mean by that is, like, life is not short, but death is real. How do you want to use the time that you know you have? When we say life is short, it just makes this unpredictable thing. Oh, life is short. I better move right now. It's more about life is short, so let's be present. It helps us stop wasting time on the fear of failure. If you can get that out of your mind, okay, well, maybe you will fail, but what do you want to do right now? How do you want to spend the time right now? It stops us from wasting our time on needing approval. And I think a lot of times, I go through this a lot with some of the entrepreneurs that I coach. I think sometimes as business owners or as entrepreneurs, we don't do things because we wait for permission. Like, we want permission. Because with us, everything stops with us. With entrepreneurs, business owners, it all stops with us. And sometimes we wait for permission or want permission. So it helps us stop wasting time on needing approval. And then it also helps us stop wasting time on waiting for perfect timing. Here is something that's not really profound, something we do in our daily lives. And I'll tell kind of a story about me, but I know a lot of folks, well, not a lot, I know a fair amount of folks, enough for this to be regular, that have a collection of bourbon or have a collection of wine, fine wines that they really love. And one person in particular has it's a 30-year bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, and he says he's waiting for the right time to open it. Like, wow, all right, I want to be around. When is it? Well, I don't know, but I'll know it. I'll know it when it happens. Well, when is the right time? So waiting for perfect timing, there's no such thing. It's like trying to time the stock market. So my funny story is I still run a fair amount, not as much as I used to, but I used to run a lot, and I would wear shoes and socks out for the runners out there. You know what I'm talking about. So with socks, one of my, like, maybe a character flaw or one of my quirky things is there are certain socks that I won't wear because I want to save them. I want to save them for good runs. Well, what's a good run? Well, I don't know. Usually a good run is the one that was good while you were doing it. You don't know until it's over. So I do that with socks. I do it with workout socks too. It's so bizarre. So I'm getting better about just wear the damn socks. So those are some of the things that knowing death is real just helps us stop wasting our time. My personal story of death and how it changed the way that I live. People sometimes think like there's this big, profound or abrupt change in my life that I suddenly started living with purpose and every minute of every day was accounted for. And I woke up to I wake up with the same routine every day and just, filled with this feeling of being blessed. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. I was paralyzed with fear when I realized that death was real. I was bitter. I was angry. I was a victim. I was so many things, but grateful I was not. So it was not like that for me. I was so scared, and I've heard all these other stories from folks. It was once I got my diagnosis, then of course I went on social media, went on Instagram, Facebook, found pages, found groups, other people this had happened to, and I heard all these stories about how people would go on these streaks and get shocked like 15, 20 times in a row. And that became part of my fear also. It's like flying. Like, I don't like to fly. I fly a lot, but I don't enjoy it. And I'm scared. I'm scared to fly. It makes me uncomfortable. And people are like, "Well, why are you scared to crash?" I'm not scared to crash. The crash is going to be instantaneous, right? I'm scared of the 90 seconds that it takes to get to the ground with everybody screaming in pandemonium. So it's the same thing. Like, I'm not scared to die necessarily, but I am scared of that episode of getting shocked like 20 or 30 times by this defibrillator, driving myself to the hospital. I know people that's happened to. So that's part of this whole life can get long thing. Life is not short, but the whole idea is death is real. So my suggestion and what I try to live by is to live with urgency, and not urgent like everything is urgent. Live with importance, not anxiety. And getting rid of the anxiety of what's going to happen next, or getting rid of the anxiety of needing approval, all of those things help us live with more purpose. Focus on what really matters. Try to focus on what matters. And I am good now about stopping and asking myself, does that really matter? And one thing that I can do also is when I get upset with people, or people make me angry, or someone gets angry with me, or someone says something ugly to me, I think, okay, in 500 years, will this matter? And I know that's ridiculous. Like, of course, we know in 500 years it won't matter. But do you ever think about that consciously? In 500 years, will this matter? I just had a person that used to be incredibly close to me that I trusted. Blind trust. She sent me an email that said I was dishonest, had no integrity, and couldn't be trusted. Really hurtful words. And, natural reaction probably is to respond back, but it does no good. And then you think, okay, in 500 years, we're both dust. In 500 years, does this really matter? What's important right now? What's important now? And what's important now is, my kids hug me with two arms. Like, I love that. That is one of my favorite things in life. And I hope you know what I'm talking about. Like, I am one of those people, even to strangers, like, I don't dig the side hug. Don't go in and give me a side hug. If we're going to hug, let's hug. Like, I like to hug. But my kids, they always hug me with both arms. Even if they're just going to the store, even if it's good night, they hug me with both arms. That is one of the most amazing things in my life. So I focus on what matters: relationships, purpose, impact, connection. Connection is big for me. Appreciate the long seasons with the people that you love. Try to appreciate them. Try to find the lesson. Take action. Take action. Death is real. Take action. Even when life feels slow, or it feels hard, or it feels like the clouds will never part. And they do. They do part. Be the strong one. Lean in. Lean in. Death is real. Success is in the constant journey to obtaining a meaningful and a worthwhile goal. Goals will change, or they should change. Like, I had one of my youngest kid, Knox, who's my favorite. Most of you probably know that story, or know the reason behind that. But Knox is my favorite. I got 3 boys, for those of you that don't know. Cash, Wyatt, Knox. They're 20, 18, and 16 respectively. But Knox had a goal. This was years ago. Had a goal of deadlifting 200 pounds. So he meets and exceeds that goal. Well, does he stop there? Is that the success? No. As people, what are we going to do? We're going to go for the next goal. So you hit your goal, you keep moving. That's not the success. If that's the success, then we stop. The success is the pursuit. It's that action that we take every day to obtain a meaningful and worthwhile goal. So look, we don't control the length of life, but we do, and we can control how we live it. There are some things that have changed. I talked about earlier. I don't wake up with this whole wave of gratitude and this playing a harp since my episode. But some things I have changed. I've gotten so much better about. One thing is I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm very impatient by nature. I'm impatient. I get kind of spun up. I'm always on to the next thing. I like that sense of accomplishment. Now I am really good about I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I am right where I'm supposed to be. In the grocery store, standing in line behind the lady that's writing a check, and they got to figure it out and get her license and do all this stuff, used to drive me nuts. But I am right where I'm supposed to be. Because you never know what amazing person might come up behind you in the line. Who knows? Recently, my youngest son, Knox, who everyone now knows is my favorite, but he's got his driver's test coming up soon, and we've been driving a whole lot. And we've been working on parallel parking, which now he can do first try, every try. So a couple of weeks ago when we were doing parallel parking, it was like brutal, probably a month ago. But it was brutal. Like, no, sharper, no, start over, turn sharper. Start over, go forward, go back, you gotta get closer, all this stuff. And it's just like, oh my God. But I was so good, not for his benefit, but for my own. I was so good. And sometimes we were doing this during the week when I had a ton of work to do. I was so good about stopping and realizing I am right where I'm supposed to be. I am right where I'm supposed to be, working with this kid to help him get his driver's license. And I've gotten better about finding gratitude. I never, before all this happened, before my heart episode, I never even thought about maybe having an issue with gratitude. But I am so good about finding gratitude. A good example is I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I took my boat out the other day. Me and my girlfriend were going to go down to Beaufort, which is about a 2-hour boat ride through the intercoastal. And we're like 15 minutes in and my motor stopped. So of course, dead in the water. I've got a trolling motor on the boat, and I was able to get back to the dock with the trolling motor. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am the luckiest dude alive to have this trolling motor to be able just to go back to the dock right across the harbor. Where before I could have seen myself just pitching a bitch. Oh my God, I can't believe this. My motor died. I had to use this stupid trolling motor. But it's so different for me now. And it's not like it's just a whole different mindset. It's a whole different appreciation. Things look different. So having that motor was my gratitude. So what have you been putting off? Here's the question. What have you been putting off because you thought you had time? If you know somebody that's in it right now, or just going through a long season or a tough season, or could just hear a message about understanding that life sometimes feels long, pass this along to them. If you like what you hear, subscribe, pass it on to a friend, leave a review. I would love that. Leave a rating, leave a review. And I'll leave you with this. The clouds always part. They do. Seasons get long. Life sometimes feels really long. Believe me, I know. The clouds always part. You can bank on that. I'm Jeff Luther. I'm your host. This has been All Can, No Can't podcast. And until next time, I cannot wait to see you. Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember, it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.